it's usually in the Premier League has been quite a difficult place for the Villa to go. But we're here to preview it and have a chat about it. Corey, how are you, mate? You okay?
I'm good, thank you, Ben. How are you?
I am living the dream. I'm just getting the chat open now, just so we can see any comments that are filtering through on the YouTube channel and have a chat with the audience. Look, I know. No, we'll just get straight into it. What are your thoughts ahead of the game?
I'm confident. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. I don't know why I feel confident. Obviously, as you mentioned, we haven't exactly got the best record at the City Ground, but at the same time, I think we've got to look at where we are at the moment and where Forest are. And at the end of the day, yes, I know they've got a couple of players back. Chris Wood's obviously back in time for the game now. He obviously played against Porto. I didn't watch the Porto game because I was watching the Villa game. But I think, listen, we've got to go out there and we've got to put on a show. We've got something to play for as well here, and that's something that we need to remember. Is I think a lot of people are worried because Forest are trying to stay in the league and this, that, and the other. Which, yeah, obviously it's going to be a tough game, but at the same time, we've also got something to play for.
No, you are right. Look, we look Forest are in a position where they need to get points to stay in the Premier League. Obviously, we need to get points, obviously to push ourselves towards Champions League football. And ultimately, it's going to be quite a, should we say, a clash of two teams looking to get something at the end of the day. We've got obviously European football to play for the Champions League, and what I will say is obviously Forest played as well on Thursday night as well as we did, and it'd be interesting to see how much was taken out of each side. Obviously, with us being in Bologna and then being against Porto, obviously their game seemed a little bit tighter than what as did as per se. I know. Look, we had to suffer at times in Bologna, and Bologna did stick it on us a little bit. But ultimately, I feel like we didn't. Would it be safe to say? I don't think we got out of third gear, as per se. We is that fair?
No, I think that's fair to say, and I don't necessarily think it's through lack of trying. I just think I don't. Sorry, I don't think it's because Bologna weren't good enough. I just think we probably weren't good enough to get out of third gear for most of the game. But obviously, when we needed to, we turned up and put the ball in the back of the net.
No, you are right. I don't think we got out of third gear. Just to let everyone know that he has joined the TikTok chat, we are live over on YouTube. If you go onto YouTube, search B6 and Beyond, you will see us over there, and we are engaging with everyone that joins over there, and we'll get some comments on the screen and read them out and have a good chat about the Villa game against obviously Forest. That's what we're here to discuss. Look, I think the majority of the fan base, me included, I know obviously you've got a bit more of a different view on it. You're a bit confident heading into the game. I'm very pessimistic heading into it because ultimately our record in the Premier League isn't very good at Forest. Obviously, in the Championship, we picked up a couple of results there, but in the Premier League, I think we've been pretty poor every time that we've gone to the City Ground, and it's just definitely not a happy hunting ground as per se. You can join in on TikTok if you want, mate, and I'll invite you. That way, you can have the chat going on both. There we go. Let me just flip that screen around. I'll leave it like that. You can hear my voice. That's all that matters. But so for all those on TikTok, if you want to join us on YouTube, we'll be reading out comments and whatnot on there. B6 and Beyond is our YouTube channel. I know you've got you seem quite confident heading into the game. What's driving that confidence?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I couldn't tell you. I think we spoke about it briefly before we started this. I think I go into the games where probably I shouldn't feel as confident, feeling confident, and then the games where I'm not as I should be confident, I'm not as confident. I don't know whether that's the Villa fan in me, where you just sort of get ahead of yourself at times and this, that, and the other. I just think, like I say, we've got something to play for as well. I think if we were middle of the road, nothing to play for, that sort of thing, I wouldn't be as confident. I think we just sort of roll over and let Forest do what they need to do to stay up. But the fact that we're in a position where potentially Chelsea could lose on the weekend, we can then open up a 9-point gap on Chelsea with a win if we win. Even if it's a draw, obviously it's a 7-point gap. You've got Everton who are playing as well. I'll have to check who Everton are playing. But Everton have got Brentford at 3 o'clock. So one of them two is going to drop points, if not both of them, who are the two chasing down the top six. So all of a sudden, it's a huge chance for us to really sort of push out, breach out, isn't it?
No, you are right, but then on the other hand, and me being the pessimistic Villa fan, we've had multiple opportunities where we've had the chance to kind of take that bit of a step away from teams in the past, and we just haven't capitalised on that, have we? Which is obviously typical Villa, should we say? The big one that I always arch back to is always the game against Sheffield United.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I know what you mean with that one, but that one again was let's just say the PGMOL got what they wanted that day when we could have gone top of the league, and they decided
The handball, yeah, but we didn't play well enough though.
Oh, we didn't. No,
that would be more my point. When Villa have like needed to step up and needed to get a result, a lot of the times we tend to go into our shell and kind of bottle it, which is I don't want to call it that, but kind of that's how the cookie crumbles. But I'm just hopeful that this weekend we step up and go and get a result. We played played really well. We got a cracking result, obviously in Bologna, and if we can have a bit more of that steel, at the City ground, because I think that'll make us suffer. Do you know what I think will be? And people have asked me my score prediction, but I really find it hard to talk about a potential score prediction at this point of proceedings, because obviously the team news isn't going to be out until Sunday. And if you was to give me, if you was to give me the score prediction, I mean the team. Sorry, I was just reading out somebody's comment. Then I'll go to that in a minute. If you was to give me the teams, I'd be able to give a bit more of an educated guess what the score will be, because especially in a game like this, I have no idea what the team's going to be. Both teams could massively rotate.
Yeah, it's a difficult one as well. Obviously, you've got the situation with Sancho. Do we know if he's going to be playing? Do we not? Again, like you say, is there potential? I don't think it will happen. Is there potential where Tammy Abraham comes into play instead of Ollie Watkins to give people a rest? Are we likely to see an Ian Matson start instead of Digne? Are we likely to see Tyrone Mings come back into the squad instead of Pau Torres? Douglas Luiz is more than likely going to play, I imagine. And then, obviously, like you say, it's you don't know, and it's hard to make an assessment at this point. But at the same time, we can probably judge it. I'd imagine it would be the same starting 11 bar one, potentially.
I agree with you. I can see us keeping pretty much the same team that we had over in Bologna. So I'm just moving things around a little bit. I don't think we'll change much, to be honest with you.
I think Matson comes in. I can definitely see Matson coming in.
Do you reckon Doug? But I'll tell you who will come in my opinion. Ross Barkley.
Yes, potentially.
I think Barkley's been very good, and I think he actually someone warrants a start. So I'm trying to sort out my bloody camera on my phone because it's having an absolute. My phone's having it. Yeah, go on. You carry on, mate.
As I say, I wouldn't be surprised if Tyrone Mings comes back in. I'm not saying he should by any means, but I wouldn't be surprised. It seems to be his Unai's thing at the moment. Is Mings is the Premier League starter and Pau Torres is the European starter. I know obviously Pau's played a couple of the Premier League games recently, but
I thought he had a good game on Thursday night, because Castro is a very tricky customer, and he runs defenses ragged. I think he had a decent game. I wouldn't be opposed to Mings coming in, but I just think the distribution from Pau Torres, in a place where we're going to need to, the ball retention is going to be imperative. Surely you want to play Pau Torres and keep the ball as best as we can. Like I say, Barkley's the one that will come in for me. I think Barkley will come in, and I could see Tielemans being pushed into that 10 role, or Tielemans might even come out.
It's hard to say. I think
I wouldn't want him to, because ultimately,
he's
quality. You can see what he does on the ball. He's our best player by country mile. Well, but I would say probably he's our best player in my opinion. Tielemans, I think he's that good. He could go into most Premier League teams and
Oh,
not look
100%.
out not look out of place, which
I
is
think
the
it's
paramount.
go on.
That's I was just saying it's paramount to his ability, but it's just managing his minutes, isn't it? The last thing we need right now is him to potentially pick up. And look, I trust Unai and the medical team to do their role and assess him, and if he's going to start, he's going to be ready ultimately. So, but I'll just be a bit nervous about that one.
I think it's like you say, it's difficult to say because we don't know what's going to happen. And obviously, looking at Forest, for example, I think Forest will go into this game with a lot of nerves because they probably will look at it as a game where they can pick up points because of their record at the City Ground against us in previous years. They'll probably look at it and think, do you know what? We've got a chance of getting something here, either a point or 3 points, that sort of thing. But again, from their perspective, they're also in a position now where, at the time of recording this, West Ham are winning. So West Ham are level on points with
Yeah,
Forest at the moment. Obviously, that could all change by the time this is out. We don't know. Um, but also from Forest perspective now, it's that thing of they need to be conservative because if they try and go for us and we go and put 2-3 past them, all of a sudden that goal difference that they've got over West Ham, which I think is about 10 at the moment, starts to slip away as well. So they need to be very conservative in that arrangement. I think they'll just try and sneak a 1-0. I think that's what they'll do.
but the thing is, we struggled that we was ahead, weren't we, in the game last year? And that's when
Yeah,
Anthony Elanga come on and ripped us a new one down the right hand side. The thing, do Forest have one eye on that Porto game? Because it's a massive game. It's a potential route into the Champions League, which financially is massive. I get obviously they've got the Premier League games that they need to pick up points, but do they look at other games? Because then they got, I'm sure they've got a real. It's after us. They've got another home game against someone. That's a winnable game at home. Is it Burnley at home?
they've got Burnley and Sunderland, I think, the next two.
See, it makes me. It does make me think. That they're going to look at this game against us somewhat, especially with having that Porto game in the week. They might rest a few bodies, focus on that Porto game. Again, I could be completely well off the mark here, but they could focus on that Porto game, rest some bodies against us. If they lose, they lose. If they win, if they get a draw, they get a win. Whatever, kind of write this game off a little bit. Take
I
that with a
think,
pinch of salt because I want to
yeah,
get result anywhere. But if they've got those games coming up, which are probably more winnable than the Villa game, with that Porto game in mind, surely they're going to want to rest players like a Gibbs White and that just so that they're fit and raring to go.
I
Puts them
think
into
personally it's too big of a risk. I think you look at previous years, Martin O'Neill tried to do it with Villa, didn't he? Where he sort of sacrificed Europa League for Champions League in the league, and it didn't work. And I think, from a perspective from Forest point of view, Champions League football would be huge for them. But if they're not in the Premier League, they go down to League One, they go down to League Two, they go into administration because the financial gain of Champions League, and they have to go into the Championship, for example, it would kill them. I mean, I spoke to a lot of sort of Leeds fans who are in a similar situation. FA Cup, Premier League safety. If they get FA Cup and they get in Europe and they're in the Championship, it's going to kill them financially and they're going to be down for years.
of
If they
course it
stay in the
will.
Premier League and don't win the FA Cup, that's going to be a massive boost. And I think
Yeah, I get it, but I just think Forest have got that many fixtures coming up after us, which are games which they've got more chance of getting a result, especially that Burnley game. And Sunderland. Sunderland's that at the City Ground as well?
that's at Sunderland.
So that one might be a bit more tricky. But that Burnley one, say that's 3 points. They beat them at home, 100%. I'll be very confident that they'll do them at home.
But yeah,
But
I mean, Burnley's a weird one as well because you'd expect Burnley to be down.
Burnley are
You'd,
down.
expect you'd expect them to go, but at the same time, they've got Brighton tomorrow, and
Brighton,
obviously
Brighton,
I
Brighton
know
just picked
Brighton
up,
are on
mate.
fire at the moment, but it's a game they could win. Brighton are always very hit and miss, and all of a sudden, like you say, if Burnley can sniff a bit of blood and get a win tomorrow, if Forest do go and take that risk, thinking Burnley's a bit of an easier game, all of a sudden they're putting themselves right back in. And obviously, if Spurs can go and win on Sunday, all of a sudden Forest are the ones that are just
Yeah,
teetering on the edge of
yeah.
the relegation zone.
All right, I get what you're saying. It's a very tricky one to balance, isn't it? I personally think, and we've had this conversation, which is kind of going off tangent a little bit, as to what we're here to discuss. But I'm a big believer that Spurs are gone. I think it'll be Wolves, Burnley, Spurs. Personally,
Yeah, I'm not as convinced.
I hope so. Oh God, I hope so. I'd love Spurs to go down. Yeah. So anyway, back to the Forest game. I think it'll be interesting, as per se, who starts in the centre of midfield. Like I say, I think Anana is an absolute shoe in. He'll play almost every minute from now till the end of the season. He will, which is a worry, massive worry with his potential injuries that he can pick up. I think most Villa fans were shitting ourselves over the long walk from the dressing room in the tunnel, just in case he injured himself on the way out to the pitch. Um, but I'd probably put him in there, put Barkley next to him, and then potentially Yuri in the 10.
The thing is, I can see Dougie playing. I think if he's not played, he didn't obviously. I don't think he came on, did he, against Bologna actually?
No. And to
So
be
if he's
fair,
not played a
Douglas
single
Luiz,
minute,
he might have something to prove.
yeah, he's likes a goal against Forest as well. Actually, got two against them last season at Villa Park. Um, I think it's I think Dougie probably comes in if we're being honest, just because he didn't play at all. Obviously, Barkley again could be an option. To be honest with you, we might see Barkley and Dougie come in. It could be that they do that as the pivot and then give Onana a bit of a rest. But then also, the way you could argue again, similar to what you've said about Forest when it comes to their next few fixtures, do we potentially just say we're going to go strong for this game with the idea of resting a few players for the second leg against Bologna?
Right, I've just disconnected from the old TikTok live now just to focus on here. Yeah, I don't know, but I'll be honest. I don't want to sound like we're already through and completely right off Bologna, but I'd be very, very, very surprised if they come to us and turn us over. Look, we will score at home. I'm pretty convinced of that. I'll be very surprised if we don't go and beat them at home as well.
Yeah, it's this is the problem with this time period now. It's crunch time, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
of
that
course it
thing of
is.
obviously, and this is what proves the best from the best and the worst from the worst, and the best managers in the world from the worst managers in the world, and that sort of thing is we're now going to get to see what Unai Emery's about. We're now going to get to see what these Villa players are about. You've got people like Ollie Watkins coming out with this fighting talk, which I love, by the way. Big fan of the way he's come about it.
Yeah,
McGinn's coming
same.
out with the way he's talking. Cash, the way Cash spoke before the game as well. Obviously, we're here to show teams respect, but we're also here to win games. That's what we want to see. So now it is that thing of, like you say, we go to Forest. Forest are a good side. They're not a bad side. I think the table probably doesn't reflect where they should be as a football team, but it reflects where they should be this season. We've
Well,
got to treat it that way.
it's just the thing with them; they've been managed horrendously, haven't they? Let's not beat around the bush. That they've been their owner Marinakis. Some of the decisions that he's made, that's what's killed them this season.
Yeah.
I don't think they should ever have got rid of Nuno.
Well, one thing's for certain is Spurs will be in the relegation zone at the end of the night. It's 2-0 to West Ham now. So
Good result that is for West Ham, isn't it? But
unless they
they
do
needed that
West
one.
Ham,
They needed that one. Yeah, but it's Wolves, and I think
it's 3-0 to West Ham now.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Valentin Castellanos has just scored 2 and 2.
Well, that is game, set, match, buried, and that's good for West Ham's goal difference as well, isn't it? So
They're now 6 goals behind Forest.
I just don't see Spurs picking up enough points, mate. They'll beat Wolves, or they should beat Wolves, but it's away, isn't it? And Wolves are just would absolutely love to. Mind my French, but shit out of them, wouldn't they? Let's be realistic. I think tomorrow they lose. I know you've had your opinion. It's not tomorrow; it's Sunday. Anyway, back to the Villa, back to the mighty Villa, because that is the reason that we are here to talk about the boys in claret and blue. Let's have a quick look into the form guide, because that would be an interesting perception. Right, form. So the last 5 games, Villa are currently at 17th in the league, which sounds doom or gloom, but since McGinn being back in the side, and also Yuri Tielemans back in the side, I think we've looked a completely different outfit, like, instantly.
We have, and I think I 100% think that's fair. I'm not going to be too negative about it. I'm not a massive fan of when those things happen. Like, I understand it's horrible losing these sort of players and stuff, but it's where you need other players to step up. Thankfully, McGinn and Tielemans are back now, so we don't have to necessarily worry about that thing of people stepping up. But it shouldn't have needed John McGinn to come back for us to really kick
No.
on, but it's happened, and we're back winning games. That's the main thing. We've won
Yeah, I think the
four
only
now.
worrying thing, yeah, it is. Yeah, you are right. The worrying thing about that is for me, it's just the lack of leadership. That would be my thing, and we've touched on that about McGinn, and if we have to when we have to replace McGinn, it's going to be an absolute torrid task for Unai Emery. Just to give a bit of feedback to so Nottingham Forest at home are sat 16th in the Premier League. They've only picked up 14 points all season at home.
It's not good, is it?
They are we are currently sat 7th in the Premier League, 22 points out of 15 away from home. Out of 15 games, sorry. So it's not not bad. Obviously, could be a bit better, but ultimately, it's not bad. And let me just have a quick look at Forest as per se, because I'm currently still on Spurs. Forest results of late at the City Ground. They drew against Fulham. They lost to Liverpool 1-0, which on the face of it, I think they did all right that day, if I remember rightly. They didn't do too bad at all, but they just couldn't put the ball in the net. They drew against Wolves, which is a honking result. They drew against Crystal Palace. So, and they drew against Arsenal at home.
This is the thing, isn't it? I mean, like, I'm just looking at the head-to-head now, and obviously since we've been back in the Premier League, we've not beaten them at the City Ground. So it's been a draw and 2 losses. And then you look at the results at Villa Park. You've got 2-0 win, 4-2 win, 2-1 win, 3-1 win. All pretty comfortable games, you'd say. Bar a little bit of nerves towards the end. But it's these games really where we need to step up. And it's actually weird. It's a complete parallel to when we played them this time last season and beat them 2-1. We played them in April 5th last season, and they were challenging for Champions League, and we were challenging. I think they were 3rd in the league, weren't they?
Yeah.
So they were 3rd in the league, and we were 8th.
Yeah, they were massively riding the crest of the wave, weren't they? Let's be realistic.
They were, but again, that was a game where we needed to step up and show what we were about, and we did that. And that's what we have to do tomorrow. Sunday, sorry.
I'm with you. We need just need to get a result. I don't give a toss how we play as long as we get a result. I know. You know yourself is you wouldn't take a draw right now, but I think I would. We got Villain for Life in the chat who's just said, "What a result last night, bro." Yes, mate, fantastic result. Just need to carry it on into the weekend now, pal. Get a result against Nottingham Forest. Look, if we can get the chance, I want personally. I'm sure you are exactly the same, Corey. Is I want Champions League football confirmed as soon as we possibly can to just take that pressure off us in the Europa League.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying about I don't want a draw on Sunday. I get it's a tough place to go, and I get we've struggled there, but like I say, a win there, we can be 9 points clear of Chelsea.
Oh, I don't want a draw, but if it was, I don't think a draw is necessarily the worst result in the world.
No, of course. I think obviously the benefit for us is we play before Chelsea as well. So Chelsea will have to look at what happens in our game and say, right, this is what we need to do. We can't control the Chelsea games. We can only control our own games. So we've obviously got Nottingham Forest this week, and then next week is it Sunderland, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Then obviously it's Burnley or Fulham. Fulham, then Burnley.
Fulham away, then Burnley, mate. Yeah.
Then Spurs. So it's like you say, you look at those games and you just say, we have to be getting things ticking by then.
I think we need 9 points, mate. I think that'll be enough.
Well, that's the thing, and then obviously you go into if we win the next 3, so we beat Forest, we beat Sunderland, we beat Fulham. That's 9 points before we then play the first leg of the semi-final. If we're to get there,
you'd have 4 games remaining then until the end of the season, and if we and on that basis alone, Chelsea would need. So Chelsea currently 6 points behind us. Chelsea would need to basically win every game from now until then to keep it at 6 points, which I don't think they will. Having Manchester City this weekend, that could potentially make it 9 point, not a 9 point gap. And then you're thinking in that last 4 games, Chelsea would have to win all 4 of those games as well. So basically, Chelsea would have to win every single game, and us not, you know what I mean, with that last run, and then us not pick up another result. Like, I just think, they're done, mate. Especially with Chelsea's running, you know, having the next 2 games, having Manchester City, Man United. If they can drop points in both of those games, which I think they will, and to be honest with you, I really don't think they'll win the game after that as well. They've got 3 games now, and I don't see them winning any of them. Like the game after that's Brighton away, and I think Brighton are more than capable of shithousing them.
Yeah, it's the problem we need to do. Like I say, the thing we need to do as Villa is just focus on our games.
Of course,
you spot on what you say, but obviously, once we start thinking about Chelsea, for example, let's say Everton or Brentford go and win the game tomorrow against each other. Whoever wins that one, all of a sudden they're then 5 points behind us before kick-off. So that's another team added into the mix. It's like if we just focus on Chelsea and Brentford go and win every game from now till the end of the season.
Mate, I'd say I know I'm going back on tangent and thinking about other teams, which is completely contradicting what you've just said. But Liverpool as well, mate. I don't see them picking up. Look, Liverpool have got Everton this weekend. They've got Fulham, which could be a banana skin. Fulham need a result to keep in the European pack themselves. And especially after that PSG game, will Liverpool be focusing on the PSG game in the week in the Champions League, which is a potential route into Champions League football if they win the Champions League, which I don't think they have the capability this year to do so anyway. But anyway, that's neither here or there. Then they've got Everton away at the Hill Dickinson in the derby. Everton will be well up for that, trying to get European football. Crystal Palace at home, their record against Palace stinks. Then they've got to go away to Manchester United, and Manchester United would love nothing more than to shit out Liverpool. Imagine Manchester United laying the boot into Liverpool to basically say that you're not going to get Champions League football, and they will. They would love that. And then after that, they've got Chelsea at Anfield, so one of them are going to drop points. Like what I will say, if we win our next 3 games, which is difficult, but it's not out the realms of possibility, Champions League's done.
Like I say, you're spot on. We just need to do, and I said it to you yesterday, I think, on the phone after the Bologna game when people were saying, it's a bit of a worry if we have to play Forest in the semi-final. And the way we've got to look at it is there's 4 games left in that Europa League, for example. We're the headhunters. We're the ones that people are coming to play. That we're the ones that everyone's saying the team to beat. We have to turn up and play that way. And it's the exact same in the league. Every game we've got from now until the end of the league, bar maybe the last 2 in Liverpool and City, we are strong favourites. We have to, in those 5 before that, go out and say, this is the reason we're favourites, win those games, and then you don't have to worry about anything else. Like you say, by the time we play Liverpool and City, it might not even matter. We could have our team on the beach, we can play the kids and get ready for, hopefully, a European final.
Mm-hmm. God, imagine that, the whole of Villa in Istanbul. Honestly, those scenes after it will look, get your hands. Anyone that's in the stream, put your hands on that wood, touch that wood, keep your fingers crossed. But imagine those scenes in Istanbul if we win it. Honestly, it'll be something you'll never experience. Hopefully we do, but potentially something you'll never experience again in your lives. And hopefully we get there, because I just it would be a dream come true. I think, to be honest with you, and it's about time we see Villa win something, because we haven't seen anything in our lifetime. Is there anyone from Forest you particularly fear?
I wouldn't say fear. I'm not best pleased that Chris Wood's back. Again, it could be hit or miss. He's obviously been out for a while. He's an aging player, but he is a goal scorer.
He went off the other night, didn't he? Because obviously, I don't know if it was for fitness or he struggled. Obviously, you may know you had the game on, but I don't know if you've seen.
I didn't see it, to be fair, no.
Right, yeah. Morgan Gibbs White always is one that can cause problems. He scored at the game at Villa Park, and he ran off Lindelof, I think.
Yeah.
Lindelof got the fingers pointed towards him, I think, by his defensive partner Ezri Konsa, if I remember rightly. But he just strolled through our defence and just chipped it over Emi Martinez, didn't he? If I remember right. Was a nice finish, but he's got ability, hasn't he? Gibbs White. As much as people call him Gibbs shite, he isn't he isn't a bad player. He's definitely someone, and I'll be honest, I think it's someone we potentially might have a look at if Morgan Rogers does get sold, because he's got the ability to play that number 10 role, and he's certainly an upgrade on fucking Buendia.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. I mean, looking at Forest's squad, they actually dropped quite a few players for that game in midweek anyway,
did they?
which probably tells you what you need to know. Ortega was in goal, which is obviously starter. Again, I say they dropped a few players. I don't watch Forest enough, so you might be able to have a different. Murillo did play. Abbott and Morato played at centre half, so no Milenkovic. He was on the bench. Backward and Doy playing as wing backs. I know McAtee gets a lot of games in Europe instead of the league. Yates and Dominguez, I'm not sure. I know Dominguez tends to start, but I don't think.
No, it's massively rotated. So their prem side last time out against Spurs was Sal's, Oina, Milenkovic, Murillo, Nico Williams, Anderson, Sangare, Hutchinson, Gibbs White, Hudson O'Doy, and Igor Jesus. So that's massively rotated.
There you go.
So they're going to be full strength and going for it against Villa then in that case.
Different formation as well, but then they may implement that 5-back formation against us to try and frustrate us.
Yeah, we don't really do well against a back 3, back 5, do we?
Wow, we had a ploy to stop that at the start of the season. We just used to shoot from 30 yards out, but that seems to have stopped all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, mate, I don't know how Yuri Tielemans and John McGinn returning will completely help that, because I know they like to have a pop, but the other players used to like having a pop as well. Hopefully, just that gets us over the line. What's your score prediction for the game, mate? And then before you give yours, anyone in the chat, let us know what your score predictions are for the weekend. Let us know what your thoughts. Who's going to be the first goal scorer? Go on, Corey. Far away, mate. Let me know.
I said before we started this, I said 4-0 to us, didn't I? I was feeling really confident. The more we've spoken, the more I've looked at Forest team, I'm not feeling as confident, so I'm going to say 3-0 instead. No, I'm joking. I'm going to say 3-1. I think it'll be similar to the Bologna game where we get 2 ahead. I think Forest will have to come at us, probably get a goal, and then it'll be like we did at Villa Park, go and then get the third and hopefully kill it off.
1-1 draw. I'm a bit I know I'm pessimistic, mate, but I'd rather be pessimistic, and at least that way, if we get a result and we beat them, I'm a bit more happy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to temper my expectations, because, like I say, going to Forest is a difficult place. Like we haven't travelled there well in the Premier League. We do struggle there, and ultimately, like I say, they've rested a lot of players for that game in Porto. They're going to be up for the game. They're going to be looking as we are looking to get the 3 points. We didn't rest as many players for that game against Bologna. We was pretty much as good as full strength. So what that means for our fitness levels going into that second half? Will we look a bit tired, a bit leggy? Who knows? But ultimately, if like I said earlier on in the podcast, if we was to get a draw, I do not think it is a bad result. I don't think it's a bad return.
Goal difference is huge now for Forest because it's 4-0 to West Ham as well. So,
Christ, West Ham have battered Wolves, haven't they? I don't think if you give me a point out of say Sunderland, 4 points out of Sunderland and Forest, I don't think that's a bad return. If we draw against these, we beat Sunderland at home, I'll take that.
100%.
That's 4 points closer to where we need to be. Like, I think generally we need about 9, maybe 10 points, and I think that probably will be enough. I want more because I want it to be comfortable, but I just don't see Chelsea. I don't see Chelsea and Liverpool picking up as many wins as what we will.
No, I think we'll do a separate episode on maybe the running, shall we?
Yeah, probably a good idea. Is there any other bits you want to cover? Anything we haven't discussed? Anyone in the chat, let us know if there's anything you want us to have a quick chat about. Then we will do. But I think we've covered most things. Well, actually, while we're here, let's do our predicted 11. Go for that. So, Emmy Martins in goal.
Yeah.
Cash right back.
Yeah.
Konsa.
Yeah.
Does he go Powell Mings? I want Powell. I would prefer Powell every day of the week for me. But what's your thoughts?
I'm hoping he's learnt from his mistake of swapping both-sided players. So I'm going to say Powell, and I'm going to say Maatson comes in. Because that's the one thing that Emery has been doing recently, which really annoys me, is when he's swapping the defence, he swaps two of them.
Yeah, that
It's like
massively
you can't
rocks the
swap
boat, don't it?
half the defence, especially if it's
Yeah.
one side. So I'm going
Yeah,
to say
I'd agree
Maatson
with
and
that.
Powell.
I'd agree with that. I think Matson comes in, especially and gives Luca Dean a little bit of break. Defensive midfield, I've gone for Onana. I think Barkley comes in. Whether
I'm
that's a,
happy with that. I think Dougie comes in personally, but I
I
also
don't know. I don't know how you
don't
can't
mind
play
the Barkley
Barkley.
shout.
You know, Barkley was fantastic against West Ham. To be fair, I'll give it. He's been fantastic. Pretty much most times I've seen him play this season.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it?
That's my shout. I'll go Ross Barkley. I think Ross
Yeah.
Barkley. I think Tielemans plays. I don't think Sancho plays even if he is fit. I think he might come off the bench. I think it'll be McGinn, Rogers, Watkins.
Don't think. I think Wendy will play.
He might.
I think I don't. I think Tielemans will play, but I just don't see him being in the 10.
But if Tielemans isn't in the 10, that would mean that potentially Barkley doesn't play. But
Yeah.
yeah. It's very a lot to ponder, isn't it? Really, for Unai Emery going into this game because and it's good. It's good to have these options because we haven't had these options for a while now.
Well, that's the thing. It's key in the way we play is having that sort of, like you say, if things aren't working in a certain way, we can bring Barkley into it. If we don't start Tielemans, then obviously he's a player with a bit of flair and creativity that can come in. In an ideal world, I think we'd all love to see Rodgers dropped and essentially Sancho come straight in just to give him a bit of rest. And then see if Rodgers can come off the bench and make an impact. But at the same time, there's probably a lot of Villa fans who would argue if he's going to make an impact, keep him from the start.
Well, let's be realistic. If Sancho is fit enough to be on the bench, he's fit enough to start. It weren't anything to do with his legs. It's not going to affect his running ability. It was his shoulder at the end of the day. And if his shoulder's in a position, in a good enough position to play 90 minutes of football, then I wouldn't be opposed to Sancho starting and McGinn in the 10.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Or McGinn off the left, Rodgers in the 10. Something like that. Because for me, Sancho's been very much well improved, especially over recent weeks. Right. I think we've said enough. I think we've covered it and we've done a thorough job of it. For any of the users that have made it to this point, just remember we do have an ongoing giveaway for either match tickets or a shirt of your choice. All you need to do is make sure to smash that subscribe button, and we give away that every 500 subs, and we are getting very close to the next one, so don't miss out on that. And then finally, last one, let's go for a big goal on the video. Let's smash the like button because it really does help the channel grow. And we will go for about 15 likes on the video. Final one from me and Cory, as always, up
the Villa.